This is my video for the day. Um, I decided, well, first off, I haven't done a video in a couple of days because I suck at actually keeping up with my videos, and I have a hard time just doing videos if I feel as though nothing's really going on. But today,
Also, to be fair, it's like it's weird because I'm home all the time now.
that's
So
true.
it's
Like he's
what
home.
the fuck do you have to talk about?
Yeah,
I'm
like
here.
sometimes I haven't even been like up on game with like cleaning and stuff. Like I'm gonna get better tomorrow. But I have my husband and kid here joining me, so I'm gonna read well, first off, this morning, how it all started. This morning I got a text message from my mother. I guess she got some obscure email from me, and she's like, "Hey, it was kind of weird, so I don't think it was you. So you might want to check your email, make sure you didn't get hacked or something." So I went in my email. Just to like look around, and I have a lot of spam email. Most people do. So my goal was to just kind of clean out my email. But before I did that, I wanted to like scroll down, look from the last few weeks, and see if there was anything important. So I was just scrolling through, and I happened to see an email from JPay. And if you don't know what JPay is, it's basically just like an email service for you to be able to talk to inmates.
From prison.
From prison. No, inmates from the store. Yeah, from prison. So
make a hole.
Inmates from down the road.
so I it was kind of shocking to see that. I know I did a video about it a couple of months ago, just about my face. Thanks, but it's close. I don't need it, but thank you.
I don't want you to hurt your eyes. That's all.
So I my Facebook post a few or a couple of months ago, and that was a bunch of drama with the Jordan family, which is my dad's side of family. So getting an email saying that he sent me a message on JPay was interesting because I thought we were done with that, and I just kind of wiped my hands of everybody over there. So I opened the message. It was a very, very long message, but I decided that I wanted to come on camera and read it. I wanted to come and read it and then read my response to it. So I'm going to do that. Also, this is from 2 weeks ago. So I'm just now getting it because I don't check my email. So this is news to me, but
Make you want to
he's
check
been
your
saying
email
this
more often, just in
I
case.
check my email every day.
So I'm going to read. Hi, Asia. It's been a while since we've corresponded. I heard about the venting post. I'm going to do this because I have a bad habit of doing that. And he does a lot of quotes in here. I don't know why he does that. Like, I get the quotes, but I think he's being sarcastic. I don't know, but he's a dick. So we're going to keep reading. I heard about the venting post you put on Facebook. As a matter of fact, it was actually printed out and sent to me. I discourage individuals from replying to your post on my behalf, so please charge any replies you may have received to that person and not to me. I discourage replies for a couple of reasons. First, I don't like people speaking for me, as I can do that myself. And second, I've always found social media arguments and the airing of relationship laundry to be so Mari Springer reality show trashy.
He's from Detroit.
I may have my shortcomings, but even as a convicted felon, in quotes, he puts that like it's not true. Like, yes, you are a convicted felon.
He's kind of a convicted felon, but not really.
You are a convicted felon.
Dude. So matter of fact, it's like, no.
I'm still above and better than that. I still believe in actually confronting issues with people by having an actual dialogue with them, verbal or written, with the purpose of working out my issues with them. It takes courage to do it, and it's often uncomfortable, but it is essential for the survival of any meaningful relationship, which is why I'm writing you. Well, I must say you really said a mouthful, but I had to understand that if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I am not one to criticize one's feelings, as I wouldn't want anyone criticizing mine. However,
Don't mind as I criticize.
however,
Not to sound racist, but insert
pretty
racist comment.
much. However, I must say that I was very disappointed in the fact that you chose to vent your feelings about me publicly on social media instead of telling me directly your issues. By the way, anyone who knows me knows the drama I've had to deal with my father back and forth. He knows my issues with him. So this is really just about him being embarrassed that I put it on Facebook. I have nothing to do. I have nothing to do with your feelings or comments that were related to anyone else. They can speak for themselves or not. I won't speculate that you hoped I'd hear of your post and be hurt by it, because unless you say so, I'll never know that as being true. But if your intent was to hurt me, then congratulations, you did, and deeply. Though our storied relationship
That
and
should be
all
the
of
thumbnail. Oh my God.
Though our storied relationship and all
That
of the
was epic.
issues you've had with me, the
He's
things
just
you
savage,
said
dude.
about me to others, and even in the things I might not have agreed with you on, one thing I've never done is publicly bashed you or exposed my feelings concerning anything you've done or anything regarding our relationship. Here's where it gets juicy. In fact, the only thing I've ever shared with another person was the fact that your husband Patrick had sex with you when you were 15 years old while he was in his 30s. And that person was Christy, because I needed to confide in my wife so that she would help me process and deal with what happened to my daughter.
What happened to you? Like it was a tragedy?
Traumatic.
Like you were in a car accident? Like,
I've always tried to honor you and respect you, whether I agreed with you on a thing or not. And if I had an issue with you that was so deep that it needed to be spoken on, I have always been committed to talking to you or corresponding with you directly. This is because that's what people in meaningful relationships do.
where have you been the last 18 months?
And they do.
We have so much in common. Let's catch up.
And they do it because the
What you doing?
relationships
Sitting
mean
here,
enough to them
4
to
by
try
4?
to work things out, even if through negotiation and compromise. Now, if the relationship doesn't mean that much to a person, then it's more than reasonable for the person not to seek to resolve their issues. But then again, if the relationship didn't mean that much to a person, they probably wouldn't have issue enough to take to social media either, one could suppose. This is why your choice to vent confused me. See, the message I received from your words and actions over the years up until now is that the idea of having a relationship with me was something you'd entertain as long as the relationship was solely on your terms. Otherwise, you could do without it. Your actions said that you weren't interested in doing the work of navigating and problem solving in a relationship with me, while I'd have the same obligation in the relationship. They said I don't know who they are, but they said
Nice quote.
they said you were only interested in having your
They.
wants and expectations met, and when they weren't, you simply removed yourself or cut yourself off with the occasional vent, blast, letter, email, or post. So, pause. Apparently, he was told that after I made my post on Facebook, I went and deleted all of his family, which is bullshit, because I made the post so that they can see it. So it would be kind of silly to make the post, delete everyone, and now the post is just sitting there. That's
If you
kind of
delete them, they can't see it.
exactly. So they removed themselves and deleted themselves, but made sure they took a screen cap to send to him before they did.
That's sad.
Where was I? So when you did that last year, after we simply had in my opinion, healthy difference of ideas on God and religion, I respected it, assuming that once again, since I didn't meet some unspoken, unagreed upon expectation you had on me, you written me off. Again, pause.
I wanted you to write me back.
Again, pause. So basically what he's saying is, the last letter that I ever sent to my father was about my beliefs. He sent me a letter. His last letter to me was just talking about, God, and, he's a Christian. I grew up in a Christian home, but I am not a Christian. So, we were having a regular conversation, and I was just like, hey, I'm not a Christian. And I was telling him, my beliefs and, just my mindset. And I stopped hearing from him. So I assumed he was upset that I wasn't a Christian anymore. charge may increase. Okay. So basically what he's saying is he assumed that I was upset and I didn't want to talk to him anymore because we had a difference in opinion when it came to religion. But my question is, how would you know there was a difference in opinion if you didn't receive my last letter, which means I was the last one to say something?
Say something.
Say something. And I wasn't going to get into a tit for tat argument about something that wasn't addressing whatever the real root issue was. So I wasn't going to respond. I figured you moved on with me in the distant rear view like you often do. Little did I know, all this time you were stewing a big time grudge against me. It's funny that when you were a kid, I used to chase you because, well, you were a kid, and I believe that a father does what he can and what he's allowed to do to have a meaningful relationship with his children. He realizes that while a kid's feelings are valid and are to be respected, the child isn't necessarily to be held to them. After all, teens are emotional and say do mean things. Your sperm donor letter. I don't remember a sperm donor letter, but I'm sure I probably did sperm donor
Sounds
letter at
like
some
you.
point. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they're kids. But being an adult is different in that when an adult opts out of a relationship and there's no desire to compromise or negotiate, you honor their wishes. I thought that was the case with you. Ever since a month before you guys unexpectedly to be moved to California for a better life, I've not only apologized for my mistakes as a father, but exactly, but I've invited you guys to always express any issues you have with me so that we could work through them. I did this at your aunt's kitchen table. And I've consistently fought to have relationships with you guys through flying you to Michigan to be with me and through phone calls, texts, emails. First off, my mom paid for us to go back and forth. He paid for us to come back one time. So that's full of crap. And in spite of my flaws, I've always done this. Even in the troubled times of me and your mom's relationship, your mom and I never let our issues with each other keep me from spending time with you guys. And I never attempted to make my issues with your mom or hers with me your issues. And you guys seem to have a great time with me, mysteriously up until our final split and divorce. And so through the last 10 years, I think it would be fair to say that my desires for a relationship hasn't been shared to the same degree by you guys, you and Micah. As there have been many times we flew you guys in. Okay.
Hey, many times it was like 3.
Well, but he didn't pay for anything, but whatever. Flew you guys in and you all either didn't want to come and or couldn't wait to leave. I even asked you guys what kind of relationship you wanted to have with me, and the response was, I don't know. Did this hurt me? Absolutely. But I understood that it was how you guys felt, and I appreciated your honesty. And I sought to balance my efforts to have a relationship with you guys with attempts to respect your feelings. That wasn't always an easy balance because when I pressed to talk with you or bring you guys here, I was viewed as forcing my way on you. But that is forcing your way a bit. When I stepped back and respected you guys' desires for space, I was viewed as neglecting a relationship with my kids. This was a no-win situation indeed. But I didn't complain about it. I didn't publicly blame, bash, or attack anyone's character. I just tried to do the best I could in an impossible situation. The thing I've had the most trouble resolving is the feeling that you guys have treated me like a father who walked out on his kids, like a father who never reaches out to or spends time with his kids, like a father who makes promises to his kids and constantly breaks them. And none of that was or is the case. I've seen fathers who've been guilty of all of that and have been received better by their kids than me. But one thing you said in your post that I agree with is that I am no victim. Never have been and never will be. What was all that beforehand then? I try my best to take responsibility for my choices and to be accountable for my actions. Example of that are my failures in my first marriage, not spending enough quality time with you, Micah and Michael, during that marriage, and the choice that resulted in my incarceration. Those were my choices, and accountability is me paying the price for them. Responsibility is making right those wrongs. I've attempted to do both, but I've never done anything to you guys but try to love you. Try to love you, be your father, and be there with you and for you. Even my shortcomings as a dad had that motive at the core, even if my methods were misguided. I just don't know what else I can do. It's crazy when Malik, who is his stepson,
That's the kid he beat on.
Yeah, basically. Whom my assault against resulted in my child abuse conviction. Why did he put that like I don't know? Being the victim, actually reached out to me. And when I tried to apologize, which I definitely needed to do, so you're admitting you did it, told me I had nothing to apologize for.
I don't care if he admits it, he was convicted of it. Somebody said he did it.
Told me I had nothing to apologize for, but instead apologized to me. What's so ironic is that he wants desperately to come visit me, expressing that I'm more of a father than his real one.
Where was all that love when you was calling the police on him?
And that, well, to be fair, the story is he went home to his dad, his real dad, and his dad, I guess, saw enough to call the police.
So the fact that he saw enough.
Exactly.
Exactly. You're such a great dad for beating on me.
And that he's asking his mom why my kids act like they do towards me when he wishes he had what they do, a dad who keeps trying to have a relationship with his kids. He must like to get beat on. I don't. It's crazy because I have no... It's crazy because I have no answers that make sense. It also boggles my mind how my name has been bastardized over the years. I've never seen someone move on to a better life from such a supposedly horrible human being, and for 10 years they speak bad about the person to his friends, family, and folks who don't even know him. To anyone who will listen, where are you getting all of this from?
I don't really know what you're talking about in a specific passage. You just kind of seem upset here. People
who have supposedly moved on with their lives still speaking about me. One would think that when you guys left, you'd been so relieved to get away from my despicableness, that you not only move forward. It's important for later, despicableness. That you not only move forward, never to look back, but as long as I wasn't bothering you guys, you wouldn't even speak my name. But not so. Seems like folk may have some serious unresolved issues. I can honestly say, yes, absolutely unresolved issues. I can honestly say that I have spent the last 10 years desperately trying to move forward, only wanting my relationship with you guys to remain. I haven't spent any of my time conversing about bad mouthing or bringing up anyone's character flaws or misdeeds from my past, except to tell those around me who insisted on bringing it up that I really don't want to go there. That's bull.
Wow. Such a stand-up guy.
I don't want to go there. That was my past and I have moved on. Oh, your kids are your past and you moved on, so you admit it. They seemed to be more upset than me and wanted to keep the conversation alive when they weren't even there. It's a virus that seemed to be contagious. It's gotten so bad that people who don't even know me are speaking about me. Again, how do you know this? I mean, how
do you know what people you don't know are saying?
From prison. I mean, how crazy that your husband, who doesn't even know me at all, is calling my wife, that's all caps by the way,
my wife.
How inappropriate is that?
Can you tell me when it's in all caps now, yell?
Sure.
I wanted to chime in on that part, but I'm not, because our letter stands on its own.
So you did just chime in to say that.
Well, I'm not going to go into it here. Because
how inappropriate is that? And telling her about my supposed character defects that he heard from you and your mom. That's crazy. Even posting, was this innuendo?
Innuendo.
Innuendo. That's a new word. About me on social media.
How would you know my Facebook page is like for friends? We're not friends.
Okay, that's like kind of like incognito, right?
No, innuendo is more. It could mean it's kind of like a double entendre.
Okay, but having no problem asking my wife. That's all caps. My wife is all caps. Okay, I guess we're not doing that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh no. Oh,
my wife.
Can we rewind? Can we pretend that whole thing didn't happen? Let's go back a little bit.
But having no problem asking my wife for money for money. You're fired. For money to help you guys out with shut off notices and late rent, and accepting it. Crazy that they must do things different in California, where life definitely must be better. We don't do it like that here.
In prison?
Here, if you don't like a person or don't deal with a person, you don't ask them, and definitely not their spouse, for financial help. Maybe I should be flattered that even after almost 3 years in prison, my name is still relevant in a place over 2,000 miles away that I don't even live. But I'm not flattered, because this really needs to stop.
How can it be 2,000 miles away and you live there?
It's gotten past ridiculous. I thought it would end once you became an adult, but it's gotten worse. It's as if you guys took on your mom's issues and now you're being a chip off the old block by setting out to make your issues Micah and Michael's issues. Again, I don't understand where he's getting me telling Michael and Micah things or people talking about him. I think this is all in his head. It wasn't right when it was done to you, and it's not right for you to do it or have done it to your sister and brother. I can accept that you have issues with me, whatever they are, and may not be interested in participating in the work it takes to have or maintain a meaningful relationship, not just a cordial one with me. But please, please, please let Micah and Michael make up their own minds without you influencing them. That's just wrong. Now, I normally don't lower myself to responding to one person about my actions in another relationship, but I'll make an exception this one time. Oh, thank you.
Oh my God, so nice of you.
This is only because you are yet important to me. I care how you feel, and I actually do care to a reasonable point what you think. So I want to clear up a couple of things that you seemed upset about in your post. First, your comment about fulfilling my letter quota to my kids is misplaced. I've written Micah and Michael several times. I even wrote a letter to them a few months ago to an address from a letter from Michael that was different than the previous one. Oh no, they moved. People do that? I got no response. I've also talked to them on the phone. Your mother was very kind and allowing and felicitating that. I stopped writing because I got no response, and your mom didn't reply to requests for contact info. Now, let me take a sidebar to be perfectly clear so that you understand something. So listen, read very closely, reread if necessary. I don't like when people give me instructions.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I'm reading it.
You're fucking stupid, so reread it if you need to, you fucking idiot.
It is not my goal to have interactions with Micah and Michael in amounts or forms that meet your approval. Your judgment of such things are not only relevant to me as they pertain to my interactions with you. And if you have such expectations concerning yourself, then as people in relationships do, kindly communicate them to me, and I can then try to either meet you or negotiate something workable with you. If you don't, I'll understand that as well. Second, your comment that someone with nothing but time with their hands would at the very least write a letter to congratulate his daughter is also misplaced. I had my wife and Aaron ask your mom for Micah's contact info so Chrissy could reach out to reach out to her, congratulating and letting her know how proud we were of her and how sad I was that I wouldn't be able to be there for her graduation as I was for yours, and to
Time out.
Let me finish the sentence. And to possibly send her something. But your mom never responded to Christy or Aaron, so I had Christy send a post on Facebook.
Didn't he just say that he got a letter from a different address and it struck him as odd?
Mm-hmm.
That is her contact information. They moved. You already have it.
I mean, but also Christy has my number. She has your number. She has my mom's number. My mom sent her a text message. My mom sent multiple. This is bullshit. So I'm not going to try to justify. I mean, it's third. I want to briefly address your concerns about my incarceration. I avoided defending myself to your other comments about me in your post because you have a right to your feelings about me. Plus, I've learned that while one can defend against the false statements by simply presenting facts, it is almost impossible to defend against a person's feelings about you. However, I would be remiss in this message if I didn't address your, as you put it, calling out Michael Jordan on social media. It's almost laughable, as they say, everyone's keyboard gangster these days, but I digress.
Okay. I don't like your father.
Yeah, he's not a likable person.
I just thought I would share.
Yeah. You said Michael Jordan is in prison for child abuse, when the fact is he was supposed to get 20 years, but managed to only get 3. That was all quotes, by the way, which is what I really said. I don't know where you got 20 years from, but it doesn't really matter. What does matter is that old saying that, wait, first off, I got 20 years from going on Michigan Corrections site, looking him up and seeing what the max should have been for him. But not only did okay, the minimum for each one was a certain number. He got less than the minimum. So I was right. But anyway, like people don't know how to go online and look up someone. Keyboard gangster, apparently. What does matter?
Gangster. He's in prison.
What does matter is that old saying that people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. You'd think I was a real tool bag if I were to stoop to your level, since you did, after all, call me out and ask any one of my people to post how funny it is funny it is for you to put my situation on blast and lie saying I was supposed to get 20 years for child abuse when your husband was actually a 30-something-year-old man who wooed you online as a 14, 15-year-old girl, had sex with you at a young age, and later married you. Oh, that sounds so bad. He married me?
I feel like adding the married you.
Yeah, like
that you shouldn't have added that part, dude.
Taking care of you and loving you. And how
did right by you.
I can't believe he go to work every day and I just sit at home. What the fuck?
And how the only reason he isn't in prison right now for statutory rape and criminal sexual conduct with a minor, which actually has a 20-year max, is because your mom refused to press charges. A thief isn't a thief because he gets convicted. He's a thief because he stole, whether he goes to jail or not.
When does a child abuser become a child abuser? Is it when he goes to prison for child abuse, or is it when he hits the child?
Exactly. I would think someone in your very unique position would understand that and be smarter with your words and think things through before foolishly sprouting off. By the way, this is a threat to expose me online. But I'm not. Don't even.
Letter stands on its own.
But nevertheless, because I love you and wouldn't do you that way, no worries. Oh, thanks so much.
Thanks, buddy.
Fucking stand that guy
in prison.
I'll be right back.
But a piece of unsolicited advice: be very careful attacking people on social media, especially when you have a dirty closet, because everyone may not be kind to your meanness as me. Ooh. You may mess around and get your feelings hurt or even embarrassed. And unfriending or blocking someone after someone posts about you can't erase what was read about you. Lastly, since I've expressed myself to you, I have a couple of requests for you. First, what's between you and I is between you and I, not me and Micah, not you, me and Micah, not you, me and Michael, not you, me and your mom, and definitely not me and not you, me, and your husband.
Wait, sounds like you're saying this from a place of authority.
Didn't he tell your personal business
to his wife?
Because
it's different though, because it's Michael. Where was I? I am asking you to please tell your husband to no longer speak about me publicly, which he's never done, including social media, which he's never done, either directly or, here's this word again that I cannot pronounce. I'm going to try it. Innuendo. We don't have a relationship and he doesn't know me to speak on me. I'm also asking that he refrain from calling and texting my wife and that he stop poking her on Facebook. Who still pokes on Facebook? Do people really still do that?
Dad, are you saying that woman pokes?
We're not friends. I can't. Oh.
He doesn't know her either. And it's savagely inappropriate. And trust me, it's really not a good look for you and your husband to be repeatedly texting and poking a woman he doesn't know well when she's asking him to stop and isn't responding. First off, Christy never said, "Hey, please stop talking." But okay,
I'm okay.
Once again, not the best look for you to try to contact my stepmother. Okay, trust me, you want to handle up on that one quick style.
Wait, Asia. You haven't been fucking sending anybody any fucking Farmville requests, have you? Oh, hey! None of that.
Hey, Carmen, I need you to stop talking to me as your stepmom. Like, I just don't. I'm uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's build relationships, but stop talking to other members of the family.
Second, I ask that you make a decision. Either you want a relationship with me or you don't. Decide which it is and roll accordingly. I say this as I always have. I'm your dad and will always want a relationship with you, no matter how crazy you act sometimes. But you are an adult and I respect you enough to lay back if you don't. But enough of these rants and fired shots at me. If you want a relationship, then woman up and let's do the real work it takes to repair and maintain one. I am not harboring any anger against your husband for what happened prior to your marriage, even though that was a lot of the message.
Even though that was, like, I would say a solid 45% of what you said.
Like, okay. He's your
Even
husband.
If you did, who the fuck cares?
He's your husband. I respect and honor your choice. And as long as he stops disrespecting me publicly, privately you guys can gap away. It's your right. And stops reaching out to my wife. He said that like 3 times. I'm even willing to let bygones be bygones. Oh, thanks. I'm willing to meet you at the table, armed with real commitment, and do the hard and honest work at repairing and generating a meaningful relationship with you. That being said, if that's something you aren't interested in, then I understand. It doesn't change my desire, because I love you and always will, but you're an adult. I'll reach out to you what I'm doing now, but I won't chase you. So if you ever get to a place in your life where you seriously want a meaningful relationship with your dad, as long as I'm alive, I will receive you with open arms. I love you, Dad.
What a nice guy. Wow, way to close off that make him sound like a really nice guy. What a stand-up guy. Wow, Asia, you've been really rude to him.
Apparently I have.
You know, I'm thinking I'm going to write him a letter.
Really?
We got a couple of those little JPay stamps that we're never going to use. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to write him a nice letter, father to father.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so here's my letter to him.
I'm not even going to preface it. Like, I think we handled it pretty well.
That's prefacing.
That was a preface.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, my letter. Michael.
Yeah,
okay, 32. Wow, that was a 32-minute letter. I call you Michael as it is your given name at birth. The title of father is reserved for those who act the role, not just assert the position because someone donated sperm to my mother.
Damn, there it is again. Oh, she can't keep getting away with it.
What do you mean? I never said that.
Jeez, woman up.
I have done my absolute best to be the good girl, to play the part your family expected of me. But when I write a letter expressing my difference of opinion when it comes to religion and I don't hear from you for 18 months, I gave up on it and moved on like an adult. After all, gaining the favor of a convicted felon doesn't rank very high on my list of things to do. The Facebook post made didn't even start out being about you, but the family quickly swooped in to defend you. Question: how do you defend against the truth? You know where you are, you know what's happening, and the only reason I got a response from you is because you concern yourself with the opinions of others. Sad, isn't it? It's amazing to me that I started getting PMs from other family members who already knew the situation, but was keeping quiet as to not be the first one to say it. Your mugshot is public record. Anyone with a computer can look it up, and I did, often. DNA samples, maximum 20 years for each account, 3 different accounts. Wow, Mike, so squeaky clean. Any semblance of a reputation you thought you had is only maintained by the silence of a family that doesn't want to be viewed in a negative light and chose to keep their dirty secrets private. Guess what? I'm not limited by those restrictions. In the original post, no names were mentioned at all. In fact, the best thing for anyone to do was to not say anything at all. Sort of like Christy did, which I respect. The people who needed to be offended were and did their best to make sure I didn't sully the good name of Michael Jordan. But between you and I, we both know that the good name of Michael Jordan isn't worth the paper it's printed on. It's like a bad soap opera for you, isn't it? The big mean Asia betrays her precious daddy and runs off to California to start a new life with her old pedophile husband. You spoke about so much concern for dirty laundry being aired and how you wanted to handle this personally. How? During the 18 months when I heard nothing? All the phone calls? Oh, gee, I had so many times to discuss this. How about this? How about you handle this before the prison sentence? The only reason you called was to ease your conscience about going to prison and hope that I didn't view you in a negative light. You wanted to feel better about yourself, and like an idiot, I gave it to you because I wanted to reestablish something. No, wait, establish something with you, as we never had a relationship in the first place. Fix things? How about actually having something to fix? I'm not sure how you think you're relevant in our lives, even though you're in prison and thousands of miles away, because we publicly stated the truth about what you did. You want the truth? You're a punchline in our house. It's a joke. Michael.
Oh, shit.
Michael Jordan, the dude who cheats on his wife, marries a friend of the family like we wouldn't realize how weird it was, then sends us pictures of the new family you started. Wow, we all feel so included. As for my dirty laundry, I don't have any. I was 15 when Patrick and I started having sex. Yes, he was 34 years old at the time. Illegal? Sure. But also public knowledge. We don't worry about what others will say about it, about if or when they find out. Hell, we tell the story to anyone who will listen. There is nothing about my past that you can say to me publicly or privately that I wouldn't want to get out or isn't already out. There's a difference between you and I. When you got locked up, you and Christy begged us not to say anything to anyone. Christy goes through the motions of rehashing all these old photos of the two of you to give the appearance that everything is fine. But come on, how stupid do you think people are? Everyone knows, just like I didn't care who knows about all the things my husband and I did prior to marriage. Oh, and to address very quickly, he got no jail time for what he did for 3 simple reasons. One, wow, that's weird. Like some of it cut off when we copied and pasted, but it's okay. Just the number, so it's fine. 1, my mother didn't press charges. Very true. 2, even if she had, I wouldn't have testified and it would have gotten thrown out. And 3, we're clever with our shit. What you don't know about my marriage is that Patrick and my mother had a conversation on February 15, 2009, where he expressed that if he could, he would marry me then and there. My mother said, if you love her, you'll wait. And he did. Look at that. A man who actually lives up to his word. So nice to finally have a man in my life that does that. So, if you like one of your minions, since you're so despicable, to post on social media and reveal all these terrible secrets about my past, feel free. Embarrassed about my past? Au contraire, I embrace it. Seems that it would be more embarrassing for you to tell the world that your firstborn was sneaking out and doing unspeakable things without your knowledge. And with a man older than your wife? Wow. Dad of the year. You, on the other hand, have a closet full of skeletons that I know you don't want to get out. Before I forget, let's mention this whole it's inappropriate for Patrick to text Christy mess. When you first went in and we reached out to Christy, she was overjoyed to have someone even speak to her. She felt alone and scared, and she was happy to have someone to talk to. How is it inappropriate for a son-in-law to reach out to a mother-in-law in her time of need? That aside, you personally thanked us and told me from now on Patrick was your son because you were so happy Christy had a support system. Funny how things change. As for my money problems, it's real cute that you want to throw on my face that we reached out to Christy for help, and she was more than happy to do so. Her plan was to sell all your cars to help us, but guess what? She didn't. I guess promising to help family and then disappearing is what you do out there. We were grateful for her sending us $50 to pay a bill, which we paid back and we're very grateful for. You know why? That's what family does. Help each other. Or is that just a California thing? You make it sound like it's impossible for someone to have money problems, but I seem to remember living in a house with no heat because you couldn't afford to pay the bill. Look, I have no ill will towards Christy during winter in Michigan. Look, I have no ill will towards Christy for not being able to help us as an adult. I understand shit happens. But to walk around like your shit don't stink is ridiculous. I never blocked Christy. She blocked me after the truth came out. We told her happy anniversary, happy birthday, happy new year, even reached out to her for over a year as we were concerned for her. Now you're saying she was hiding from us because one of you felt uncomfortable with it. Hey, if it makes you feel better, I'll give you my word that both of us have said our last words to Christy a very long time ago. She can hide out wherever she is and await your imminent return. But so we're clear, it was Christy, Aaron, and Tony who unfriended and blocked me. The perfect example of the truth hurts. I also recall something about information you requested that you never received. But I have personally seen the messages between my mother, Aaron, Nora, Drew, and Christy for that matter, begging them to be a part of Micah's life, as this was a very important moment for her. You know what they said? She should call her dad. Several people were forwarded the information you asked for, but how many calls, letters, emails, or even texts did she get in her big moment? None. Not one. Even if she hadn't forwarded anything to anyone, Christy doesn't know how to use her phone and call me, or do I make her uncomfortable too? She could have called mom or text for the information. Even better, she could have swallowed her pride and text Patrick for the info, assuming it wasn't too uncomfortable for her to have someone in her life who sincerely cared. Something, anything. You know who did come? Patrick, who missed work and humbly spent his time and money to ensure that his little sister's moment was special and to show support. Wow, looks like he's here for her more than you are. And that's not even a matter of distance. He's always been that way. I recall him paying my phone bill for me once, and we couldn't mention it to mom, but you sure swooped in and took the credit for it, didn't you? Weird. Do you have any idea what Micah has done, the things she's accomplished, the awards, the TV appearances, the scholarships she's gotten, her major? I mean, hell, she's considering double majoring. I'm only asking you for one, even if you are aware. You deserve none, nor will you get any of the credit a father should have for guiding his daughter to such an accomplishment. Distance is no issue. She would have been happy with a collect phone call from you, collect phone call from you just to know you were thinking of her. Anything really. But what did we get? Nothing. I get why you didn't come, and if it had been last minute, I could see why others couldn't. But when my mother not only begged them to come and offered to help pay for them to be here, everyone had something more important to do. So no, we don't hold the Jordan family in high regards right now. Let's address our relationship since you say it's such an issue for you. For someone who is such a God-fearing man and wants to do right by his family, you managed to get someone else pregnant out of wedlock, and then the summer that you couldn't wait to connect with your kids, you dropped me off in Nora's basement so you can go run off to the Bahamas with Christy. Gosh, fun times for all. I don't want to bring up how many times you took me to some random woman's house and told me to play with her kids while you and the mom did whatever the hell you were doing. You can lie to me, even yourself, but according to you, God is watching. Are you going to lie to him? Trying to preserve your reputation to the all-knowing and all-seeing God? Good luck with that. I don't even need to know what you were doing. You know. As for Micah, there is no need for me to tell her about you and your ways. She sees you and has formulated her own opinions about you. So how about if you want to know how Micah feels, you ask her. And where Michael is concerned, we don't speak to him about you, as we don't want to disappoint him. You see, You see, he's the only one who still has any sort of positive feelings for you, and we don't want to rob him of that. He'll see you for who you truly are in his own time.
That's not even for him. It's for Mike. We don't want to hurt Mike's feelings.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want you to know that I'm trying very hard not to make this a personal attack on you as a man or as a father, even though you give me so much ammo to do so. You are not a good father, not to me, not to Micah or Mike. You never beat me to the extent that DNA samples needed to be taken, but you read my personal diary, then called a family meeting to embarrass me about my darkest, deepest, most private thoughts. That's more mental abuse. Your comments about me, even at a young age, have haunted me, so I tried for so many years to impress you and gain your approval. It's ironic that the only time you acknowledge those attempts is after I stopped caring about it. Don't get me wrong, every little girl wants her father in her life, but I don't want the baggage that comes along with dealing with you. You're manipulative, sneaky, too focused on public appearance, self-absorbed, and underhanded. Yes, a thief is a thief even if he doesn't get caught, but a liar is still a liar even if no one calls him out on it. So, to answer your question, no, I have no desire to pursue a relationship with you. Why would I? When your opinion changes from moment to moment. 1 minute Patrick is your son and you're grateful. The next moment you're warning us to stay away from your wife. One moment you admit to your misdoings and want to build a relationship, but the next you're telling me to woman up and do my part. I don't have a part in this as you have nothing I want. We find it humorous that your attempts to threaten me with public embarrassment by telling everyone about my past. Guess what, homie? Everyone knows. You're just late to the party. It's you who needs to be worried about demons coming back to haunt you, or worse, the new demons you'll have to face when you get out. Almost done. Listen, I'm not trying to paint the picture of how great Asia's life is and how we're better off. Asia's life is and how we're better than everybody else. I don't have much, but the things I have are important to me. I have a husband who risks everything to be with me, and as soon as the opportunity presented itself, he married me. I have a son who loves me as if I gave birth to him myself. Little apartment and we get by. We're happy. I don't have the time, energy, or desire to allow negative family members to stick their nose in my business and make me feel bad because we told the truth. Again, these are people who asserted their positions in my life as family when none of them do anything to deserve those positions. Everything you didn't want the world to know is out there now. But the funny part is everyone already knows. Again, you're just late to the party. So, when you get out, you need to focus on your next move. Don't worry so much about what's happening with me and my marriage. And if you want to lay around with Christy and talk shit about my relationship, that's cool. All you can say is the truth, which we're okay with. Have at it. Know that I hold no ill will towards you or your family. I wish you all the very best when you get out and you can have some semblance of a normal, happy life. Me, I am looking forward to bearing children for the wonderful man I married and watching him effortlessly be twice the father you ever hoped you could be. Take care, Asia Harris. So that was my response.
Gotta go get the fire extinguisher to put out those fucking flames.
Super hot fire.
That's how you just spit in fire.
Super hot.
So, yeah, that's pretty much what happened today. It was kind of a shocker for me because I assumed that all of that was done, and I honestly didn't expect. Well, I expect to hear from him again eventually, but I didn't think that he would have the audacity to send me a message about it. I figured it was pretty clear, and I think it's kind of childish that someone took a screen cap and, hey, Mike, look what Asia did. Like, not that I care that they did that, but it's like, really, a screen cap? Like, that's your priority to take
notes.
Yeah, it was a very long post, so they had to take multiple screen caps, and to get all the comments and everything, that was like some pages. So somebody went on JPay, bought multiple stamps, because when I sent this letter, it was 3 pages. When mentioned, it was like 3 stamps, and I happened to have 9 stamps in my thing that I just hadn't used because I don't talk to him. But to take all those screen caps and explain what happened, that's a lot of effort. So apparently that got under his skin and he's upset about it, and he probably said everything he said in his letter because he's hurt, and that's just how he does things. But this guy's a dick, and I at a point now, like for a long time, I've been done for a while, but naturally, you know, still a little hopeful and everything because it's my dad at the end of the day, you know. But at this point, it's like I don't want him to get hit by a truck, but I don't want anything to do with him. And
rush to push him out of the way either.
Yeah, I wouldn't rush to push him out of the way either.
Look out!
Like, I mean, the only way I'd be able to do that if I was in Michigan, because you know also he's not leaving the state.
Prison bus.
Prison bus.
So yeah, I saw that today, and it was actually kind of an all-day event for me. I ended up talking to my mother about it, and she read everything, and my mother's very, what's the word for her?
I want to say conservative.
I was thinking
conservative. She doesn't like to get into that kind of stuff. And when I originally made my Facebook post, she didn't say anything. She wanted to, but she didn't. But today she got very angry and fed up. And my mother's getting to a point now, it's weird. She's getting to a point now where she has very little patience. Like I watched her go off on like a group of people at a graduation for seats. Like she's getting really savage. And the older she gets. So she went on Facebook, she had some stuff today, and she told me she will be making phone calls because she's got some stuff to say. And apparently she wrote my father a very juicy letter that I'm very interested in. My husband
we gotta get that.
Says that he wants to write him a letter. And at this, I used to be kind of like, oh, maybe we shouldn't say this or that. I don't care anymore. So it's like my husband can just send a big old fuck you and I wouldn't care. So yeah, I'm not gonna talk much longer because it's almost an hour long, and that's a very long time.
Let's stay for a solid hour. What the hell?
A solid hour? Ooh, okay. Is there something you want to say?
I think my concern, not even a concern, shouldn't his thoughts be more towards when I get out, how am I going to support myself? Like as a convicted felon. The only place you can really work is like McDonald's or a car wash or a recycle place. And they don't even do recycle places in Michigan, do they? It's like
that's like at the store. You would put the bottles in the bottle.
They give you a dime. It's like we don't even like recycle. Like what is he gonna do? How's he gonna make money?
He's not like, and that's the thing. Like when he gets out, he'll probably be on probation. Probably have a probation officer. They'll probably be up his ass about getting work. And that's gonna be his life, you know. And it's like. His wife, apparently, like she says she retired from her job. I don't know how the fuck you can retire from a job when you are used to two incomes and now you've got one income and, you know, she got her other kid taken away. And see, that's the whole thing too. Like, he's like, oh, what do you mean 20 years? Like, I don't have facts, but I literally looked it up and out her own mouth, the kid that wasn't even involved in the assault got taken away. Oh, hello.
That's what the pecan.
He got taken away. So he was involved somehow. So it's just a lot to the story that it's just, it doesn't make sense. You know, there's a lot of gaps in the story. And what's funny is, wow, everything I said is absolutely true because I looked it up under his mugshot and everything. There are like court documents like where they're talking about like the DNA testing and the samples and everything. What is on my lip? That's embarrassing. There are court documents that we can actually order and buy, which that's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So that's something that I will be doing eventually. Not even to like, hey, look, I know all your stuff, but I just want to know, you know? So
I really think he should be focusing his attention on other things. Like, what did he hope to accomplish by saying, since you want to tell my business, I'm going to tell people that your husband's really old? It's, like, dude, like,
you had sex with your husband when you were 15 years old. It's like, you know, even if, let's say he did that, nobody knew it, and I was sincerely embarrassed about the idea of him doing that. So he has, you know, his brother or his wife go on Facebook and just go to typing about, you know, oh, did you know that Asia and Patrick were intimate before she was of age and all these horrible things? And I was like, oh no, I can't believe you did that. Wouldn't people look at that and say, wow, that's your response to your daughter being upset that you guys didn't care about Micah's graduation? Like that's what you're doing? You decided to put your daughter on blast, but you're in prison.
You know, on every video we have, about a minute before it's over, right there in the lower left-hand corner, the Story of Us playlist pops up. It's like anybody who wants to know the full story, it's all right there.
You don't even need to know the full story. My husband and I met when I was 14 years old. He was 33. When I was 15, we had all the sex. We were on and off for a long time. And after
4 years.
No. Well, technically 4 years, we got married. But now it's been almost 9 years. And
married for 4.5.
Married for 4.5. And here we are, happy. And
I want to stress, it's not like a R. Kelly, Aaliyah marriage either, so I can marry you to get out of it. I wanted to marry the girl day one. Like, so your response is like, can you believe that Asia married a man who wanted to be with her? Like, yeah.
It's like, and nobody ever talks about the fact, and that's another reason why my mother's family despises this man so much. For how the relationship was, how crap of a husband and father he was. But also, he literally married a woman from my mother's side of the family. Now, she's not blood, but my grandmother basically raised her, and she wasn't in my life a whole lot when I was younger, but I do remember she was best friends with my aunt, and Christy
Nikki?
was, yeah.
Okay.
And she was kind of like a aunt to me, and we would go and we would hang out with her and everything, and it was just like, it was like another family member. And so when I found out, like, oh, she's marrying Christy, it was just like, isn't that the woman who you what? To me, it was basic. I mean,
Isn't she in the wedding photo?
Oh, and that's a funny thing too. It's like a joke, a running joke in the family. At my grandmother's house, it's actually a picture that my grandmother has on her mantle, and it's a picture of my mother and my mother and father's wedding. And it's not there because they're married. It's more so there because in the picture, there's like other family members that like passed on and stuff. So it's just a nice photo. But in the back, you see Christy. And what's funny, she was at the wedding. She was the flower girl. She was like 12. And in the picture, it's like, like back in the day when you would take the cameras with the disposable cameras. And there would be, like if you flash, like sometimes you get the red eyes. So it's like a picture of her just standing there looking like really evil, and she's got red eyes, and she's like staring at my father. And so we always like laugh about that, like, oh yeah, she had a plan the whole time. But no, yeah, like that, before I was even born, like my mother and father got married and she was the flower girl. That's just a creepy story. I'm sorry. Like, oh, how did you guys meet? Well, we originally met at his wedding. I was the flower girl. So that's my story. That's what happened today.
I'm really bothered that a grown ass man resorted to, I'm gonna tell on you.
Like, exactly. Like, and then I won't do that though because I love you. So you're
threatened to do it, but then not do. Well, we supposed to be like, oh my God, Mike, please, no, don't do that. It'll ruin things. Dude, we don't give a shit. Like, I've never been the kind of person who concerned myself with the opinions of others. Like, if you want to tell people what they already know, go for it.
I'm done. Like, it's funny because a couple of months ago when I made the Facebook status, I found myself getting really angry and yelling. And when I don't get very angry often.
Oh, you were heated today.
I was heated today. I don't get very angry often, but when I do get angry, I tend to yell and scream a bit and get really loud. And I did do some of that today as I was reading his letter. But I do feel as though, I feel like when I made the Facebook status, the posts and the replies and everything, I feel as though I handled the situation itself well, but I let it affect me more than it should have. And today, am proud to say that I don't think that this is affecting me nearly as much as that situation did. And I think that this should affect me more than that, because it was actually the interaction with my father that, I don't want to say the interaction with my father that I knew was going to come eventually, because honestly, we've been down this road so many times. Like, I can't even keep count. But I do feel like my response to him was better than anything I've ever said to him. Not because I feel like I said more here, but this was my final, here it is. Here's officially how I feel. I don't want a relationship with you. Every other time has always been, I want a relationship with you, but you got to do this and we need to get back. I'm not interested anymore. And I think that was kind of a big deal for me today, to be able to officially say, I don't want a relationship with you. Like I've said before, like when he stopped answering me like 18 months ago, I was like, oh, I'm wiping my hands of the situation, to hell with him, but I know that when he gets out, I'm going to get a phone call, and we just kind of agreed, like, we're going to see how that goes. That's going to be interesting. But, if I get a phone call when he gets out,
he won't, because he won't have the contact information.
Well, I mean, like, if he tries to contact me in any way, like, even if it's Christy unblocking me and sending me a message that goes to my others folder, either way, eventually, at some point, he is going to attempt to contact me again. And I know that for a fact, because in, I want to say it was 2014? No, it was 2013. I had that whole falling out with my dad over the phone, actually.
Oh, the day before the wedding?
No.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
We still have that somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I don't actually like that video, actually. But I had that whole conversation with him on the phone. Not conversation, argument with him on the phone. And it ended really badly. Kind of probably worse than this ended, but it hurt. It was hard, and I had just decided, that's it, I'm done. And he was just like, well, he basically at the end was just like, when I'm ready to woman up and have a relationship with him, then I can contact him. And that was the last time I had heard from him, until around Christmas time of 2014, where he called me and he said he wanted a relationship with me, and he was apologizing, and he was asking me weird questions like, hey, do you think that I was a good father? Do you think I was abusive? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, we should be having this conversation, but this is kind of out of nowhere. But hey, whatever, let's talk. Only to find out a month later, I get a phone call like, oh, your dad's in prison. And to me, it was like, what the fuck? What do you mean he's in prison? Like, it was just like out of nowhere. Like, I had just started to have a relationship with this man, and then suddenly he's in prison. And I was just shocked. And then once I found out what he was in prison for, it all made sense. He called me asking me about if he was abusive or the kind of father I thought he was growing up. All these weird questions, because he was going to prison for abusing a child, and he wanted to go in feeling as though he had the support of his children in California. Even went as far as to write my mother a letter saying, hey, I apologize for everything. Everything's my fault. But he didn't go into detail. That was just one big lie.
I wonder if he did that so he could record that conversation and take those letters in and say, see, these speak to my character. My first kids don't seem to think I beat on them. So clearly I didn't beat on the other ones I just had.
But no, that wouldn't have worked, because the court date started in early 2014. And he called me probably between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So what am I saying? Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, he went to prison on January 13th of 2015. And when he went in that day, he already knew he was going to prison. He just didn't have the sentencing yet. It was already announced, like, you will be going to prison, get all your affairs in order, which was a courtesy of them, really. And on the 13th...
I mean, I guess they kind of got to let you do that, seeing as how you're going to be gone for years.
On the 13th, he went in and they made the sentencing. So it wasn't a matter of recording anything or gathering information to try to defend himself, because defense was out the window. You're going to prison. It's just a matter of how long. They could have said you're going to prison for 10 days. Nonetheless, he was going to prison. The judge was nice enough to only give him 3 years, but he should have got a lot more. And like I said, I have enough details to know that he's guilty, but I don't have so many details that I know what the physical abuse actually was. I don't know if it was a sock to the face. I don't know. But DNA...
It was enough that they had to get DNA. Like, that shouldn't even come up unless there was an open wound and his blood got into the open wound, which is just unsanitary. Like, to get a DNA sample, it's got to be a pretty severe beating.
So,
I mean, a dude get punched in the eye. They don't take DNA samples.
So yeah, I'm done. It's I realized today, especially after talking to my mother, a lot or all of his family. I won't say all. I won't say that, because there are people from his side of the family who I love to death, and I won't say I'm very close to them. But no matter how long we go without talking, I will always consider them family. For instance, there is and it's kind of silly, his stepfather's sister's kids, if that makes sense. So
okay.
I mean, anyway, it's from his side of the family. And I care about her a lot. And actually, when I made the whole Facebook post, she came on there and she's like, look, I completely understand where you're coming from. Like, when my mother passed away, her mother was everything. Like, her mother and my mother brought that family together. But her mother passed away, and she was just talking about when her mother passed away, they all just pretty much left her. And that's really messed up, so she completely understood. So I won't say everyone from that side is that way, but if we're being honest, I think she's the only one I can say her and her family are the only ones I can say I like, or I love, I care about,
Nobody?
It's,
Nobody? Really?
Nobody else?
No, just that one?
Her and her family. Yeah, I mean, it's like, here's the thing. When it comes to, like, my father and his mother and brothers and all that stuff, the thing is, I don't hate these people, but I dislike these people deeply. And it's become a nuisance trying to have a relationship with these people. And I don't have the time or the patience or the energy to continue to associate with these people. Even if I got a phone call like, oh, hey, I would like to be close with you, and I'm sorry for everything, and here's details on what I'm sorry about, and I'll get better, I would politely say, hey, I really appreciate you reaching out to me, and I really appreciate you apologizing, and I don't even accept your apology because I'm not angry with you, but as they say, I can't fuck with you. It's just it's that kind of thing. It's kind of like how you're with a boyfriend or girlfriend and they keep doing something bad and you keep saying, okay, I forgive you, let's work it out again, but it just always ends the same. That's how it is, So I have no doubt in my mind that at some point, eventually, sometime in the near future, maybe it's a year from now, maybe it's 2 years from now, my father will reach out, attempting to have some sort of relationship with me, and I will deny him. I will send him on his way very politely, just say, hey, look, I appreciate you reaching out to me. I'm doing good. Life is good for me. My family's great. I hope your family's well, but that's it,
I'll fuck with you.
I sincerely wish him the best. I hope things work out for him. I'm not very optimistic, but I hope things work out for you, but I can't. And that is a mindset. I feel like if I can say that about the one person who has consistently brought me pain in my life, I can say that about anybody who I don't speak to anymore or stop talking to, or, you know, just had a bad experience with. I don't hate anyone. But the people who aren't in my life are not in my life. You know, I feel like that's not what I was trying to say. um,
See,
I
my thing, I was trying to stretch this out purposely because I just want you to vent. It's
okay.
not that
You
I'm
know,
concerned about
I
you
will
or
admit
anything.
that I wanted to cut it off because I didn't want to talk for a long time, but also I didn't want to hold Kari because I know he had to go. But I
Just for me as your husband, I just wanted you to be able to get your feelings out.
I
Because
understand.
I understand, like, we can say, oh, we don't fuck with you no more, but it's like, that's your dad, man. Like,
See, and see
that's
that
gonna hurt you for a
see
while.
and and that's the thing. For a long time, for years now, people have told me like, oh, that's your dad, and no matter what, you want to have a relationship with your dad, and you want to be on good terms with him. There's nothing your dad could ever do to make him stop loving you, or, you know, just all that stuff. And, you know, I hear that. I hear that a lot. And, you know, especially coming from someone whose father has passed away, I am very sympathetic to that advice and to the idea of having a good relationship with my father and being on good terms with him. But I also have to say and have to realize for myself that, and I think I realized that today, that um, just because he's my father doesn't mean that he is he him okay, just because he is my father doesn't mean having him in my life is healthy. And no matter who the person is, what relationship we have, or how you're related to me, I can't just have you here if frankly I'm not benefiting from it. You know, if it's not healthy and it's doing me more damage, then it makes no sense for you to be here. And, you know, I was on the phone with my mom for quite a while today talking about this, and I said something to her, and I was just thinking about it like, wow, that really is true. Talking with Michael, my father, anytime we have a conversation or we get into it, which is more often than not, um, he literally just sucks the energy out of me. And it always leaves me in this place of just, I don't, it leaves me heavy. I feel drained. I feel tired. I just fed up, you know, and it's like, you know, it's sad. I get sad, and it's like, why? And I remember the last time I had a big argument with him, which was in 2014, or 2013. I remember crying really hard on the phone with him, and that's why it ended bad. And I remember just like screaming at him, why don't you love me? And that was like probably I don't know if it was the first time, but it was a very emotional conversation for me. And, you know, I didn't mean to do that, you know, but that's how I felt. Just like, you know, this little girl with all these daddy issues. And, you know, here I am now. I'm 23 years old, I think. Yeah, I'm 23 years old.
It's funny you
I
got to
can
think
never
about it.
remember my age. I'm 23 years old. I'm married. I have a kid. I'm trying to have more kids. You know, I'm an adult, and, you know, a lot of times, I'll be honest, I don't feel like an adult at all. But I am. I'm an adult, and I do adult things. And, you know, growing up for me was tough. You know, like, before we even moved out here, like before I was 13 years old, it was always tough. You know, my mother has always been a wonderful mother, and she did the absolute best she can, which succeeded everything, or anything that I've ever seen any other woman do, which is amazing. And I'll always love her for that. But honestly, if I didn't have my mother, I don't know what kind of person I would be. I wouldn't have been able to survive the pain that I had to endure. And I don't mean to make this sound like a sob story, like, oh, and Asia had so much pain brought on her and everyone did her wrong. No, I definitely had my share of things. Like, after I turned 13 and we moved out here, I gained a little independence and everything. I did some stuff I had no business doing. I was kind of a bitch to some people. I was kind of an asshole to my husband for a long time before we were married. And I think for me, a lot of the bad choices I made was because I didn't have a good relationship with him. And I'm not going to blame him for the choices I made because those choices are my own. I'm a very big believer in, or strong believer in, your choices are your own. Not even good choices, bad choices, just choices with consequences. And for me, not having that love and support and guidance and everything from my father resulted in me yearning for that as a teenager and not even realizing what I wanted or what I was missing. I found myself dealing with guys for attention because that was the only attention I really knew from a guy. I didn't know that, you're beautiful, hugs, kisses, and all that kind of stuff. I only knew, hey, you got big boobs, you got a big butt, you're sexy, let's have sex. Or let me touch on you or do that kind of stuff. And, that for me started at a young age, before I was even, if we're just TMI, before I was even like having intercourse and everything, I dealt with a lot of stuff when I was younger with people, and I'm not going to go into detail about that right now. That can be a whole nother thing another time, but I feel as though I dealt with a lot, and I was for a very long time constantly searching for someone like my father. And that sounds creepy, but I think every little girl, well, most little girls do that. It's like, that's either a really beautiful thing or a really bad thing. If you don't have a healthy relationship with your father, or he's not a very good father, and you're searching for someone, even if you don't realize it, searching for a man, you're searching for a man to love you, naturally, you're going to look for or seek out some of the same traits that your father may have. And if you have a wonderful father, then that can be a beautiful thing, but for me, not so much a good thing. And I've had people who I've met or I've dealt with, and I'm like, wow, you remind me of my dad. Like, not in a creepy way, but just like little characteristics, little things they would say or how they would do things. And it was kind of weird, but I saw the pattern, and I met my wonderful husband, and I have never known anyone like him ever. And I was fortunate enough to actually meet him at a very young age. And while we had a lot of ups and downs before I finally got my crap together and we got married, I did a lot of stuff, that I'm not very proud of. But he was there with me through it all. And honestly, I can imagine how it would have been if he wasn't there with me, just the same way I can't imagine how things would have been if my mom wasn't there for me when I was younger. So I I just think today for me was a kind of like an epiphany. Like, in my mind, I feel like I want to say I feel like I already felt this way or had already come to this conclusion, but I don't think it was to this extent. To be able to officially say, I, I'm not upset with you, I don't hate you, but you can't be in my life. I think it's very important for me, and I made this decision earlier this year. It's important to me to spring clean, get rid of anything that's not healthy in my life, whether that's bad habits, whether that's foods I eat or things I drink, or um, just how I do things, how I manage my time, people, the things I engage myself in. I want to be as healthy as possible, inside and out, and especially mentally. And holding on to people, or holding on to the hope that someone will come around and be what they should be, is absolutely unhealthy for me. And hope is not supposed to be a bad thing. It's supposed to be a good thing. Everyone has hope in something. Um, and I still have hope in a lot of things, but I don't have hope in ever having a healthy relationship with my father. I asked my husband today, and because this is something that I think about often, and I remember someone said this to me, and it was years ago, and I don't remember who said it. And I think they said it trying to scare me, but they said something along the lines of, you don't have a good relationship with your grandmother on my father's side. What are you going to do when she passes away? And I remember feeling really bad, like, wow, maybe I should like try to contact her more, only to realize I always try to contact her and I don't get responses, or get a response. And I asked my husband today, like, how do you think it's going to be for me when he passes away? Like, I'm not saying it'll be anytime soon, and I surely hope it's not anytime soon, but eventually at some point he's going to pass on. And more than likely he's going to pass on, and we would have never had the relationship a father and daughter should have. And my husband said it will be hard for me, and I know that it will be hard, because at the end of the day, no matter what kind of relationship we have, he's my father. Even if it wasn't in a healthy way, he has been in my life. Even if he wasn't physically here, or making an attempt to be in my life, he was in my life in the sense that I always left space in my heart for him. And that, for me, I don't know how that's going to be after today. I know right now I feel lighter. I'm not sad or anything like that, like, at all. I'm actually quite relieved. I won't say like I'm happy or anything, because honestly, the letter really pissed me off. I'm not going to lie. But I do feel refreshed being able to say what I say to him. I felt refreshed after making my Facebook status and seeing, knowing that the people who it was meant for saw it. And I feel even more refreshed knowing that I was able to finally say what I need to say and kind of cut him off and walk away. And I think while I'm talking, geez, I'm talking a lot. While I'm thinking about it and talking, I think another thing that really helps me is anytime I would get into it with my father and it would come back around to our relationship, he would always say the ball's in your court, or tell me to woman up, or just make it seem like I'm so wrong and I'm the reason why we don't have a good relationship. And it would always end that way. And I always felt as though it ended with him leaving me again, because that's what he always does. Like, we'll build up this, what I think is a fresh start to a good relationship, and then he just stop, or he disappear, or just start an argument or something like that. Or if I would try to talk to him about how I feel, he would attack me and accuse my mother of planting things in my head, just crazy stuff like that. And he would always leave. He would come and leave, come and leave, come and leave. And that was just a pattern that I got used to. And this time, I think, was a big deal for me, because I, for the first time ever, how do I say it? The ball was in my court, but I didn't. You took
your ball and went home.
Yeah, I took my ball and went home. I didn't put the ball in his court because I'm not interested in playing the game anymore, And that's a big deal for me, to be able to say that for the first time ever after 23 years, I was in charge of when everything was going to get cut off, when we were just going to stop, even prior to him sending me the letter that I received today. He just stopped talking to me all of a sudden. And, while I wasn't like butthurt or crying over it, it was just like, damn, really? I thought that we were like starting to have a relationship. And then once again, you just disappear. And I can't allow myself to continue to be disappointed by this man. Even if I don't even realize that it is disappointing me, it is disappointing. Anytime someone, talks a good game and, we're going to do this and that and have a relationship, and then they disappear or they just start mess. It's hard. It's really hard. And I think after a while you get used to dealing with it so much that you don't even realize you're in pain when it happens, because you're used to feeling that way around that person. And I don't ever want to lower myself so much that I allow myself to be hurt by someone just to say that they're in my life. Because besides my father, I did that with a lot of people. So scared to lose people. I would either not be very honest with them or with myself. I would allow things to go on or happen that just weren't very good. And I can't, I just can't. I don't really know how else to explain it, but I can't, and I won't. I don't even have a lot going for me right now, like,
what are you talking about?
No,
You're
I
doing
don't, I
well.
won't. Well, you have to let me finish. I don't have a lot going for me right now in a sense where it's like I can say, oh, I've got this and I've got that or whatever, but, I have the people that I care about in my life, and for me, that's more than enough. And I need to focus on that and not focus on a man who brings nothing but pain, honestly. I think doing this too, and receiving that letter and everything, I think that it helps more than just me. And, right after I made that Facebook status, my grandmother on my mother's side came out to visit from Alabama for my sister's graduation. And when she first got here, my mother called me. She's like, "Hey, grandma's here. So hey, we're gonna come pick you up tomorrow so we can hang out. It's not whatever." And she said, "Yeah, grandma read your post, so she wants to talk to you." And I was like, "Okay, grandma wants to talk to me," because I wasn't like rude in the post or anything like that, but I put it out there, especially in the comments. I went there. But when I saw my grandma, she gave me the biggest hug. She's like, "I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you for everything you put on face." I'm like, "Really?" Because my grandmother's kind of like my mom, really conservative. But I got so many messages and just support from that post. And I didn't do it to get attention or anything like that. Like, I barely ever make Facebook posts or just posting on Facebook. I don't know. I just like to observe on Facebook. But, that was important to me to do. And, I did it for like 5 people. But the responses I got were from so many other people, and just everyone just kind of came out of nowhere and just like, "Hey, well, since we're talking, since it's out there, here's how I feel." And I got private messages of people telling me that I really opened up a door for dialogue that
You did,
they didn't
dude. That
feel
was the
like was
revolution,
open.
dude.
So, and in that sense, I'm really glad that, people took it that way, and that it wasn't just me venting, but other people were able to vent as well, or say what they've been wanting to say, things that they've been dealing with, whether it was about him or just about the Jordans in general. I didn't realize that so many other people had issues with them. Like, my cousin, I didn't realize that, she, what am I saying? I didn't realize that she had dealt with so much when her mother passed from this family and everything. And even like, especially my mother, after today, after she read his letter and then read my letter, we had a really nice long talk on the phone, and she came to some conclusions. And my mother has never talked bad about my father to us. She's always encouraged him to have a relationship with us, and has always encouraged us to have a relationship with him. But one thing my mother never did, and one thing I will always love her for never doing, is forcing us to have a relationship with him. And she does that still now with Micah and Michael. Like, apparently, he wrote them, whatever. They don't really write him or call him or anything,
and it's really their doing. They're just not interested.
Yeah, I mean, that they're just not interested in talking to him. Not that they're upset with him or anything, I don't think, but it's not a priority for them. Micah is pretty much almost where I am. She's probably about where I was when I was her age. That was not that long ago. Oh my gosh, that was technically 6 years ago. It's crazy. But she's pretty much where I was at 17. Michael, he has a ways to go, and sadly, like, I will never talked bad about our dad to Michael, but it's the kind of thing that I can't see this man changing, and Michael, luckily, has never really lived with our dad. He's never really had to deal with the things that Micah and I have had to deal with. Luckily, Micah hasn't had to deal with everything that I had to deal with, which is good. Like, as the oldest, as the big sister, I am happy to take most of that, because I don't want them to deal with that, like, even as a kid, like, I would get a lot more spankings and stuff like that, so that they wouldn't have to. I don't want not Michael, he was a baby or not even born yet, but as the oldest, I took most of it, or the bulk of it, and I'm fine with that, because even though I had a long journey, I am happy where I am now, and I know that I'll grow and get better and better over the years. But I'd rather have had that journey, and it take me this long to get to where I am, than for my siblings to ever have to deal with that. So anyway, back to my mom. I think she realized a lot of things, and she wrote him a letter, and she is just done, she knew a lot. She's his ex-wife, so she definitely knows some stuff, but it's funny how you deal with someone for so many years, and they still tend to surprise you. And I think in this sense, it's kind of a surprise, but also kind of expected. You want to be optimistic. I wanted to be optimistic about him and changing and everything, and maybe thinking maybe it's not everybody, maybe it's just some of the Jordans, and maybe he is changing, but he never changed. He might have gotten worse, frankly. It was all just to make sure that he had supporters, because he knew he had fucked up, and he didn't like the idea of everyone turning their back on him. But the sad truth is, everyone has turned their back on him, even his own mother. So now, he finished his sentence. He'll be out in a few months, and
you say a few, it's still like 6 months.
Okay, well, he'll be out in 6 months if you want to get technical.
That's still half a year.
What's half a year when you've already done 2.5?
True.
So, he'll have his wife. I don't know, I guess he'll have his kid back, and he'll probably have his brother, but that's it. His only other sibling, his other brother, moved to Texas, and I'm sure he goes back and forth, but he's moved on. Last I heard from Christy, Nora doesn't want anything to do with him, who was his mother. And the only people he had other than his wife and his kid were his 3 original kids and his ex-wife. And that's done for. So, and even like I was talking to my mom about Michael going to visit, and if Michael came to my mom and said, hey, Mom, I want to go visit Dad, my mom would say, okay, buy them. Oh, I guess it's going to be a new one.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. You wanted me to keep going.
No, it's fine. Vent, dude. I want you to consider this closure. You know how everybody's like, oh, you need to work it out with your dad. You need to have a relationship with your dad.
Well,
this is your closure. You have said the things you needed to say. You have vented your grievances. You have heard his. And you have decided this is not something I want to pursue.
Well, I feel like it's not really closure because I already had closure. I feel like it's
a resolution. But it's not like, oh, and now we're gonna go to the park and he's gonna take me to the daddy-daughter dance. It's the closure you needed. It just didn't have the happy ending.
Well, no, it is a happy ending. Well, it's a happy ending for me. Like, and that's another thing. It's like people always like I get a lot like, oh, Asia, I'm so sorry that your dad's the way he is. Oh, I'm so sorry you guys don't have a relationship. But I don't want people to apologize for me for that. Like, when people say those kind of things, it comes off like, I can't believe he started acting like this. People need to remember he's always been this way. Like, I literally don't know the idea of a good, supportive, loving father. So to say, hey, I'm sorry that he's not what he's supposed to be, it's like, of course it would be cool if he was what he's supposed to be, but that's completely foreign to me. So I don't want people to be sorry, for me, like, oh, I'm so sorry it didn't work out for you, because it absolutely did work.
If it's not, we'll know in like 10 seconds.
Well, the video stopped, so we not started over, but I guess it's not going to be a 3-part. He's going to put it all together. So anyway, I don't even remember what I was saying.
We were talking about closure, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah, so I get from a lot of people, people are very apologetic for how my relationship is with my father. And, like I said, I just took my personal situation and just tried to make it the best that I could for me. And it's kind of like how you would have like a princess story. It's like you've got like this fairy tale story, and in the end, she gets her Prince Charming. It's just like, yay, that Disney movie, yay, it worked out. But for me, it wasn't necessarily fairy tale. I was dealt a completely different, how do you say it? Set of card, different hand. I was dealt a different hand. So, in that sense, it's like I took my reality, and this is my happy ending. I don't know what having a good father is like, so I can't really say, oh, that's the happy ending, because now I'm just yearning for something I've never known. So I'm not naive enough to say like, oh, I never want that. I will always wish that I had been able to have that kind of relationship with my father. But at the same time, honestly, I don't know if I can say that. If I had been in a different situation, if my father had been the great father and husband that he should have been, I may not have met my husband. Or maybe we would have met, but a different way, or later down the line. Maybe I wouldn't have been open to it. Maybe I wouldn't have been on that site, who knows? But all I do know is this is reality for me, and this is my fairy tale ending. I got the Prince Charming,
Aww.
I got the fairy tale life and everything, and I'm happy with it. And not everybody would be able to join me, on that ride. And, that's fine. It just means there's more for me. So, yeah.
Like, if your father was here, I'd give you less. Like, more for me. Like,
yeah, I mean, I get to have you to myself. You are such a douche. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like I kind of feel weird doing this video because it's like I feel it's like, oh, closure and get it all out there and everything. But it's like I'm not sad at all. I'm quite relieved. I feel like I'm just repeating myself, but you know, when it comes to him, when it comes to his wife, when it comes to his brothers and his stepfather and his mother, I'm just done.
Nothing in the fuck budget, huh?
I got no fuck bucks to give. My fuck budget is completely filled. That's actually a really good video. I actually love that video. It really helped me change the way I view things and how I deal with things. So yeah, I think today was just one of those days where I grew just a little bit more, you know. I'm not gonna say like this was a big deal. I know my husband looks at it that way and everything, but it was a long time coming. And honestly, I never look at like the big situations as a big situation. I'm not hard on myself, I don't think. I'm just not as about stuff like my husband is. I had no words, so that was my word. So yeah, that's what happened. This is a super long video, but I'm glad I was able to, you know, come on here and read it. I did say earlier that I wanted to come on here and read it because I could have just did a summarized version of it, but even if it's just for my own records, I wanted to be able to, if I ever wanted to, come back and watch this, you know, just to see what happened. I mean, I could always go back and read, I guess, but you know, these videos are here. Why not, you know, take advantage and do this? I hadn't done a video in a couple of days, and to me, this was definitely video worthy. And in the past, I feel as though whenever something would happen, I would kind of come and give like a summarized version of it, which is nothing wrong with that. But because I feel like this is the last time that I will attempt to, or not attempt to have a relationship, that's the wrong thing to say. The last time, at least for a very long time, that I will associate with this person, and because of who the person was, I think it was important that I come on here and be extremely detailed. So I am used to having one parent, you know, and it's not like, oh, well, now I just got my mom. I've always just had my mom, you know, even when we all lived together, it's always just been my mom. You know, and I don't know if I've ever said this on camera, but I was very scared of my father. You know, my father was not the nicest person. He, you know, took his anger outside of home out on us. And that was hard, you know, like he didn't like beat the crap out of us or anything like that. But in a sense, I guess technically he was abusive, more so mental and verbal abuse. But, you know, there was spankings and it was a bit more than it should have been, you know. But, you know, I think the mental and verbal abuse, I got a lot of it, a bulk of it. My mom got most of it, you know, in the marriage, but that was not a good start for me, you know, becoming a teenager, because my first my first boyfriend, technically, if you want to call it that, I was like 13, but my first boyfriend
Sister Brandon
was very
story.
well, I'm not gonna go into the story, but it is him. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't like Brandon, so
I don't dislike Brandon.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Hey, he's fine. What do we look like? Where do we live?
I don't remember.
When's the last time you talked to him? I'm not concerned about Brandon.
No, I know you're not concerned about him, but you just... Anyway, he doesn't like any of my exes, so if you want to call him an ex. But anyway, I was 13. I was little. There was this little boy who liked me. It was actually a friend of mine's cousin who I ended up dating. You know, we had just moved to California. He was in Michigan, so if you want to call it a relationship, and you know, he was, I guess if you technically was like verbally abusive, not, I don't like to throw around abuse a lot, you know, but he was not verbally very nice to me. I'll say that much. He put me down a lot and stuff. And I think like right after that situation, not right after, but not long after, I met this one. And he used to get on me a lot because like when we first met, I told him I was Brandon's bitch and that I will always be Brandon's bitch because that's what Brandon had instilled in me. He did not like that at all. So like little stuff like that, you know, because of the lack of essential things that I didn't get from my father, resulted in me dealing with assholes like Brandon and other people. So, fast forward many years later, 10 years later to be exact, I am happiest I've ever been.
I'm glad.
And I'm happy, like I told my mom on the phone, I'm happy to have finally officially wipe my hands of the situation, you know, no longer wondering, oh, I wonder if this or that, or, you know, just no more, you know, that's not even an option for me, you know. I used to, like when he first went in, I would check my JPay, like I had the app, you know, and I kind of always felt weird about that. I never wanted to have the JPay app. Like, I mean, not dissing anybody who's in prison or people who have loved ones in prison, but it's like, just the idea of having like an app to communicate with inmates just came off as really tacky to me, and I never liked it. And after we stopped talking, I was like, well, why do I have this? So I deleted it, and I did get it back today only because my eyesight sucks ass and I couldn't read it on Google, so I had to get the app because the font was a little different and I was able to read it. Because I'm getting to this point, but I refuse to be so blind that I have to wear glasses while I'm using my phone. I already have to put my phone up close like this, so I'm blind. But anyway, that is that's all I really have to say, I think. Hey, you want to say some stuff? Because you're kind of here.
I just wanted you to...
Oh, no, I can't do that.
Nope, I just wanted you to be able to do your thing. I'm good.
Oh, come on. There's something. You always want something to say. Yeah.
Nope, this is your moment.
Don't say it's my moment.
It's your moment. Look, I'm happy that you got closure or reconciliation or resolution or happily ever after or whatever you want to call it. I'm happy you have it. And I'm very glad that this situation didn't ruin you. Because I remember the call from a couple of years ago and you were crying and, you know, why don't you love me? You were crushed for weeks after that.
Can you promise me something?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to promise that you're not going to baby me. And hear me out. I know you will naturally say, I'm not going to do that. But I don't want you to treat me like this is just like, oh, I'm so glad. I don't want like that feeling of I walk out the room and everybody like slow claps for me, you know? Like it was just a conversation. It was just an honest conversation. And I don't feel like I should be praised for being honest. You get what I'm saying?
No, I'm not going to praise you. No, I'm not going to pat you on the head and say good job. But I'm proud of you for dealing with it the way you dealt with it. Like there were times when this would have ruined you. And you dealt with it elegantly. You dealt with it professionally. You aired your grievances, and you're done. Like, I'm proud of you.
Well, I appreciate it. It's very nice of you.
Hey, look who's back.
Hey, I'm not like interrupting.
No.
Okay. Hey, I just can't say what to do.
What'd he do?
What are you guys doing?
Finishing this video. He made me go on for another 45 minutes.
Oh, this is the same video?
Same video.
Shit, what do you guys been filling the time with?
Man, just masturbating.
Likewise.
Right?
Likewise.
So yeah, I'll put all this together. It'll be one big thing.
Fucking nigga named Michael.
Wow.
Oh no! Oh no!
What about my dad?
Oh,
Jesus! Wait a minute.
Oops.
Oh no.
Oops.
Okay, who's an inmate? That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.